Hey guys, it is time for the March week 2 roundup. Not a lot of reads, but we'll get into that. Hey guys, if you're new, welcome to the Book Path. I'm Nicole, and if this isn't your first rodeo, thanks for sticking around. Like I said, this is week 2 roundup for the month of March. I didn't do a whole lot of reading. We're starting to get into some of my more thicker, chunkier books, so it's going to take a little bit longer for me to get through them. But I am happy to say that the DNF streak that was from week 1 is over. Thank you. It is over. So with that being said, the first book that I read was Throttled by Lauren Asher. This was originally the Literature Club pick for the month of March. I decided to use this for the Tropical Readathon as well for the mixed media or the audiobook or ebook prompt, and this was an ebook format for me. So I went ahead and read that one, and that one I gave 4 stars for just enjoyment level, and then I would probably give it about a 3 to 4 stars on the spiciness level. But basically, this book is a steamy romance book that centers around F1 racing. I'm not big on race car driving in general. I mean, NASCAR is really big around where I am. But I don't know. I think NASCAR is really only big in America. I don't know if they go anywhere else. Like I said, I don't follow it that much. But this one is F1 racing, which I think they're the more slender, like they kind of look like arrowheads or something. That they're slender, like one person. It's a different type of car. And I think those are bigger probably on the European circuit. I'm not sure. I just haven't seen that much F1 racing here in the States. But basically what you have Noah Slade, who is his dad used to be an F1 racer, retired, was like hugely famous. And then he has his mom, and basically his dad's trying to live vicariously through him, and his mom's really kind of just like there for the money and the celebrity, and she, like, the parents are pretty much good for nothing on this one. So he grows up kind of with that like Hollywood, child raised in the limelight, gets whatever he wants or whoever he wants, and he's very much the playboy. And he goes into like the big championship, and there's a opponent, I forget his name, his last name's Alvatore, but as the race is going on, Alvatore kind of like brushes up against his car, against Noah's car, which sends Noah into basically an accident with his car. So Noah he survives without a scrape, but because of that, he loses the trophy and the championship that year, which is really kind of like festering in him. To make that even worse, about a year or 2 later, when they're coming back to the championships again, his the company that sponsors him, the team that he's for Noah, has now hired Alvatore to be his partner. So basically, they don't race in the same car; they race in separate cars, but they both race for the same team. And with Alvatore, he brings his younger sister, who's fresh out of college, Maya. And I think Maya is somewhere between the ages of like 22, 24, because she does say that she kind of flounders in school a little bit, so it takes her a little bit longer to graduate. But I think Noah is like 30, and she's like I said, 22 to 24 age range. So there is a little bit of an age gap in here. There is a little bit of a sort of enemies to lovers because of the animosity that's going on between her brother and Noah. And there's like, so you have those different aspects going in to this book. A lot of steamy thoughts on Noah's part, really, which are kind of fun. There's a lot of little banter going on. I love that this is a dual POV, because you really get to know like the inner workings, especially on Noah's side. I really liked reading Noah's side more in this book. but you see them kind of come together over the course of this racing year. And so, like I said, this was 4 stars for me because I really liked the way it was written. I liked like there was a reality to it on how you could see this relationship forming and how you could see the tension between this and what was going on. What I didn't like about it, what didn't drive me to a 5 on it, was the fact that when things started developing, certain type of secrets being kept, and that's kind of leading to the climax. I just didn't really. I understood why they needed to be like secretive about certain things, but then at the same time, I kind of thought it was dumb that they were being secretive about certain things because it was just like it didn't seem like it needed to be that way. The other part that did it for me is I'm not a huge fan of like, okay, you got your happily ever after. I don't really need to know like extra epilogues to it unless you want to give me like 1 year later type thing. And this one was kind of like the climax happened, secrets were revealed, the resolution felt quickly rushed and quickly resolved, so that was kind of to me. But then it was like, and then this is how I felt, and you get her side of how they felt, and then this is Noah's side of how he felt in the aftermath, and then 1 year later, and it just kept feeling like the story was just kept going on. And I was like, you really didn't need to do this. It was good where it was. I didn't need these extra chapters, especially if this is the first book in a series. So I'm like, you could have covered kind of the aftermath in other books going forward, because the other books center on the other F1 drivers. So I'm going to continue with the series because I really did enjoy it enough to like 4 stars. Going to continue with the rest of the series. We'll see if they get to the 5 star, if there's one that really sticks out as a 5 star, or if I'm assuming at this point they're all going to be 4 stars at least to me, just because I liked the way they're written. I had the fun with it. We'll see if there's more of the similar kind of things that made it a 4 for me in the other books. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping maybe we'll get a 5 star out of it. But yeah, I'm like, it was a good one. And like I said, this was the Literature Club pick book for March. And then this was the mixed media, but it was really the alternate prompt, which was to read to have an audiobook or an ebook. And I did the ebook version. So another challenge is done. I also got a few points out of this for Marvelathon, so it kind of solved a bunch of things for me, and yeah, so I was happy for that. So next up, and this is basically the last book that I'm covering in this, like I said, it's a really short little catch up with you guys because the other ones are a little bit longer, taking me a little bit longer to get through those. But the next book that I picked up is Wicked Beauty by Katie Robert. This is the 3rd book in the Dark Olympus series. So far, I have read all 3, and all 3 have been really good. This was a 5 star for me. Really well done. Once again, you have Dark Olympus, which is kind of like, think of like Manhattan, but it's run by like different mafia factions or different syndicates, and all these syndicates are kind of held like the hierarchy, the title that like goes over like transport or commerce or security. Those are all held by people who hold the title of one of the Olympians of the Greek pantheon. The titles of Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon can only be inherited through your lineage. Everything else you are nominated for except for Ares, which is what this book is about. So in this book, you have Helen. Yes, Helen of Troy, but Helen. And in this book, she's actually the sister of the newly appointed, well, not newly appointed, but he's the new Zeus. He inherited the role, and that's her brother. And her sister, her older sister, has become the new Aphrodite. And so she is kind of the one without any power. She's the pawn. She doesn't want to be the pawn. Ares has just passed away of old age, and Ares is the one title that you can claim through competition. And so all of these people have gathered to compete, including Achilles and Patroclus, who are lovers. They are both soldiers under Athena, and they want to inherit, they want to get the role of Ares because they want to see change. They both grew up from, Achilles kind of grew up in a foster care type system, and Patroclus, his parents were, his moms were part of the Olympians before, but they kind of left the competition because it was kind of life and death for them at points. They were getting threats and they didn't want to deal with that. So you have their kind of stories and why they want the Aries powers to kind of like make names for themselves, but also to change things. And Zeus is giving has a big party to invite who's going to announce themselves as candidates for this new competition. And lo and behold, he throws a surprise in there when he offers up his sister Helen as a wife for whoever wins. She is the prize. So of course you have Achilles and Patroclus who are standing up to, they figure that if both of them enter, that increases their chances of one of them winning. But then you also have Paris and Hector. Yes, there are a lot of Trojan War characters in this book. Paris is Helen's ex in this, and he is pretty vile. He really likes to get in her head, make her feel like she's kind of worthless and fully dependent on him, that she doesn't hold her own power. So Helen, of course, does not want to be a prize. She wants to have her own power. She wants to be free. And so she has had a dream to take up the Aries mantle for herself. First, she's thinking maybe she can't do it when she starts to see the competition, but she's kind of boosted. And she ends up throwing her hat in the ring as well. So this is a story of them going through the competition trials while, having to know who's your enemy, who's your friend, all the while starting to develop a sort of throuple relationship with Achilles and Patroclus. And what I really loved about this book is the way that the relationship dynamics played off, where you have Achilles and Patroclus in a long-term relationship, and here they both have feelings for Helen, and they don't know what that means for their relationship, especially when should Helen lose, she's going to become the wife of whoever becomes, Aries. And if Achilles becomes Aries and has to marry Helen, what does that mean for Patroclus? And, if Helen ends up with, God forbid, Paris wins it, how does that, work with their kind of fledgling relationship that they're kind of building? So a lot of relationship dynamics, a lot of insecurity, anxiety, trying to overcome those kind of obstacles, and the questions you just kind of have in relationships in general with, sometimes feeling like you're not good enough for your partner. And it was just really kind of like heart-wrenching in ways, but also just really real. And I like that about Katie Roberts' stories, is that when she talks about these characters who they seem to have power, but do they really have power? And then you bring up these insecurities that are very real insecurities for people in the world. So I really like that kind of realistic relationship approach to it. So once again, this was 5 stars for me, and then 5 stars on the steamy scale. It was very steamy. What I loved about this as well, I have the other 2 books, but this is the first time in the series that you kind of get a character sketch in there. So it was really good. I enjoyed it. And that was basically it. So on a side note, I did love Wicked Beauty enough that the other day I was doing a little grocery, like house supply shopping, and I ended up picking up Radiant Sin by Katie Roberts. So not really a book haul, but I did pick this up, which this is the new release, 4th book in the Dark Olympics series. So I'm going to try and find my way to get this on my April T.B.R. because I really want to read this one and continue on with the series. And I think she has the 5th one coming out, I think around August, I'm not sure, but that one's also going to be coming out later this year. But yeah. So other than that, that was basically my week. I know not a lot of huge book readings. Like I said, the newer books that I'm starting to get into are more on the 400 to 500, 600 page scale. So it is going to take me a little bit longer, especially one of my kids is out of school for a long weekend. Priorities kind of got to shift a little bit there. Can't spend all day reading. But yeah, it was fun. I'm just happy that the DNFs are over. And I don't think, when I look at my TBR, I don't think there's going to be any more DNFs along the way. At least I hope not, because the other ones are books in a series that I've already started and I've liked the series so far. So I don't really see myself DNFing anything in the future. But I am going to have to pick up the pace because all the books for the rest of the month are the chunky books. So We'll have to find a way to kind of quicken that up a little bit, but having fun, and we'll see. Like I said, I'm fighting like heck to try to complete these challenges. I still have to complete my magical readathon challenges for the book that's over 4.3 star rating on Goodreads, as well as completing a book that's over 500 pages. Those are still books that I have yet to accomplish. So we will see how I do, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.